Hello, welcome to the Always Be Comedy podcast. Our guest today is Always Be Comedy royalty, one of the very best MCs, a great comedian. Timo, we think we got in on the ground floor with a guy who is going all the way to the very top. And you know what, Tim? We are going to do everything in our limited power to help get this dude to the top. We think we adore this guy.
It's Don McGovern.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He is someone we come to a lot. He's the resident MC of Chelsea. Really, he shares with a few people, but he is the resident MC of Chelsea. He is.
If you want an Always Be Comedy exclusive,
yes, please.
I think he'll be doing a lot at the Bedford in Balham, because yesterday I locked in a lot of warm-ups.
Well, fantastic news on both accounts. That's great.
He doesn't know this yet, so I better email him.
Oh, does he not? Okay. But yeah, I think he probably did the gig for the first time last year, and he is now one of the people who does the gig more than most. In that time, he's also become an Aisling B sort of main tour support. He was doing, I think, probably the majority of the tour dates on her colossal, amazingly debut tour. And yeah, he's got it. And like, it's amazing seeing comedians coming from Chelsea. Anyone who comes from the Chelsea double, they're like, Dom was unbelievable.
That is so true.
It's so cool.
We hear it from audience members, other comedians. If it sounds like the bin men are outside doing glass and plastics, you are correct, and I'm really sorry. It is hot, and so it's almost like a radio play. That's how loud the glass was smashing there. I would like to apologise. I didn't close my window in time. I can't really close it now because the horse has already bolted, i.e. the dust cart. Is this 1947? Yeah. It's gone. It's already gone. The bin men have gone. I know some of you might be going all bin women, but I can assure you that on my street in Penge, they're all bin men. Timo, Don McGovern, I would say, is, if you're not au fait with Don McGovern, he is like your whip smart, super catty, super funny best friend, and he's the kind of guy that can poke a bit of fun at people in the audience, but does it with a smile on his face and a glint in his eye. So there was a night at Chelsea, some of my old university friends were there, and he called them the Real Housewives of Clapham, which is a lovely, it's a lovely slam, but no one was laughing more than the five women with who they wouldn't like me, because we've known each other since we've all known each other since we were 18. They wouldn't like me calling them women. The five girls, nobody was laughing more than them. He's got that. It's like a superpower, Tim, isn't it? He's pulling your leg, but he's on your side.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the bio, the blurb for his show, and he references, says, join Don McGovern, the rising star, cursed with the caustic wit of an old Noel Coward and the self-esteem of a young Princess Diana. That's it.
That's lovely. He once turned up at Kennington, and he was dressed in like this almost like 50s Americana, lovely, sort of like a polo shirt with a big collar and baggy brown trousers. He looked great, and I said, "You look incredible."
Yeah.
And he goes, "They call me the talentless Mr. Ripley," and I'm like, "There's no off switch with this lad." So yeah, Don McGovern, be sure, Timo. I mean, we've not done this officially. Maybe we will. Maybe there's not time. But if we were to do one of our Edinburgh episodes, in fact, I need to reply to my cousin Steph. In fact, Steph, if you're listening, Don McGovern, go see Don McGovern.
Yeah,
Timo, is it called? Oh, hang on a minute. Let me see if I can remember. But I think I've got it wrong. Is it Prize Hog?
It's Prize Hog. You have to back yourself. It's Prize Hog. It's at the Pleasance Courtyard at 8:30. It's prime time for a prime time guy.
By the way, in terms of getting a name slightly wrong, Ivo Graham. We had comedians football on Tuesday. Ivo Graham put on a Japan football shirt, and I went to say Daiichi Kamada, who is Palace and Japan, and I said it's Ismaili Sarr, who quite literally is Palace, plays for Senegal, and I've been wincing. I've been wincing ever since. When you get to a certain age, guys, when you get to your late 40s, this is the sort of when you've got two kids and you call one of the kids by the other kid's names. These are the things that you have to look forward to. When my mum used to do it, I thought, oh, that what happened to me. I've said this before. My dad was once talking about a Hollywood actor to a friend of mine, and he'd seen Out of Sight, and he went to tell you he was a good actor, Kevin Clooney. And me and my friend were like, oh, that'll never happen to us, and oh, it will. Timo, what else can we say about the show? Where is it on?
It's on at Pleasance Courtyard in
Pleasance
Bunker
Courtyard.
1, a fantastic spot to debut. And yeah, I think we might do a fringe ep this month. But if we don't, our number one recommendation is Don McGovern, and I think we can confidently say that.
You can't say fairer than that. You've got to back your guys in the stable. You've got to back your guys in the Always Be Comedy stable. And with Don McGovern, Timo, I think, and this is the sort of energy we love at Always Be Comedy, when comedians sometimes don't realise how brilliant they are, and I do think there's a bit of that with Dom, and it's important that we put that metaphorical and literal arm around his shoulder and tell him that he's brilliant. Some acts, I think, Tim, do. I won't name names because I'm not saying that they're arrogant. Some acts do know how brilliant they are, but not in a cocky way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. I think several brilliant comedians who are aware, oh, what I'm doing is good, for sure, of course. I think once you reach a certain level, I think everyone sort of knows to some extent. I think.
But then some are riddled. Some of the very best they're always riddled with self-doubt, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, they are. But they must know to some extent. I hope. I really hope they know.
It's like the musical guest on Knowing Me, Knowing You, and played by, is it Rebecca Front?
Yeah, absolutely.
And she says something like, I had no idea how popular I was. Something like, I had no idea. And Alan Partridge says, I might have got the wrong venue. He said, why did you book the XL Arena? It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And someone who's heading for the XL Arena, it's Don McGovern.
Don McGovern. Now, you'll be able to see Dom at Always Be Comedy. He doesn't know this yet. I'll tell you what else you'll be able to see. So, the time this comes out, we've got The Wine Guy this Wednesday. I think it'll have sold out. So we've added another one, Thursday the 27th of August. Tom Gilby with his Absolute Filth. It's a work in progress show before he goes on tour. Thursday the 27th of August. It might be sold out, but tomorrow, Wednesday the 8th of July. It still has the Last of the Summer Wine title because it was just for the newsletter, but maybe we can put his name now because there's about 2 tickets left. We've got a Mark Steele work in progress this Friday, Nish Kumar and Amy Annette this Sunday. That's pretty much sold out. And then we've just added a new material show. Check this, Monday the 13th of July. Jack Shep from SNL UK, and then 2 of the writers from SNL UK, Bella Hull and Celia AB. Do not miss it. It's one of our new material Fun Shack shows. Rob Alton, Tuesday the 14th of July, last couple of tickets. And then a recently added Janine Haroni. It's a tall run-through as she preps for a thing. Thursday the 16th of July. Listen, guys, there are approximately 12 billion shows on sale at the moment. Please visit alwaysbecomedy.com/tickets for these and many more. We're also putting on some shows for the Chelsea Arts Festival. That was weird that my voice went a bit posher as I talked about Chelsea. And they are in September. I am scrolling down. Right, these shows are... Good Lord, look at this. Thursday the 17th of September, Jordan Brooks, Michelle de Swart, Horatio Gould. Friday the 18th of September, Tom Davis is warming up his Spud Gun tour We've just added a show, Saturday the 19th of September. This is all part of Chelsea Arts Festival. George Lewis is doing a solo show. We've called it Past Perfect, Present Tense. And that is because it's a combination of some of the gold along with some newer gear. So for these and many more, as we say, alwaysbecomedy.com. In the meantime, here is the great Dom McGovern. Be sure to check out new show, Prize Hog, at Edinburgh. Here he is. We'll start now, and we'll start with this. Dom McGovern, you, my friend, have got the world by the tail. It's all happening. You're so funny. You're so likable. Everybody loves you, and it's important that you know that. And Tim and I love you. All the other people, we love you more than them. So well done.
Did you hear that, Mum and Dad? I've been adopted. I've been adopted by an age gap couple.
Do you know what, Tim? Nothing would give me more pleasure. Oh my God! It'd be like the end of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If I said to Emily and the girls, "We've someone else is living with us now," the three of them would be ecstatic.
Oh, I think Dom would fit in so well with the Gill household. I think he'd be great.
Fit in so well. He'd be the most popular one immediately.
I thought you were talking about Tim.
I would fit in so well.
Tim's already in. My kids call Tim Uncle Tim.
Oh, that's so nice.
It is nice. It is nice
stuff.
Yeah. Anyway,
that wasn't a well-timed slug of water.
Tim, is that Slow Club at Banquet Records behind you on the wall?
It is. Yeah, it is.
Whoa, indie music darling, Prince Tim Lewis.
Late noughties indie club.
That's crazy.
Please may I ask you a question, Tim? And I've never asked this, and maybe I should ask you privately. Why is it just stuck up? Why do you not say frame it?
Oh, because I put it up when I was like a teenager, and I still live home. Because
is it A4 sized?
No, it's bigger than that.
A3.
But it's more. No, it's not. But it's not A3. Do you get A3 and a half?
A secret third option.
No, it's A3 and a quarter. I'd say.
The reason why I was asking was I was thinking that would be nice, where you opened an Amazon package and it was an A4 frame.
Ooh, no,
it's no good, is it? Don't fit.
No, it's an awful background to be honest, but it's for what I have. Keep me change it.
The Slow Club gets some nice attention.
It does. That's good.
Yeah,
do you know what's not got attention so far in my episode of this podcast? Certainly, best pro comedy night, best pro comedy night, best pro comedy night. You ever heard of the 7 deadly sins? Pride, James Gill. I'll see you in purgatory.
That is Pride, isn't it? But
yeah.
But the thing is, I'm quite,
No, you are proud. It's good. That's nice.
Tim and I take the Chortle Awards more seriously than Meryl Streep takes the Oscars, I would say.
Well, I don't think Meryl Streep probably takes the Oscars that seriously anymore. She's there every bloody year. She must be like, fucking hell, got nominated again for like The Mysterious Life of Wendy Pierce or whatever.
I would say, but because Meryl doesn't
for anything.
Catherine Hepburn still has the record for most wins by an actor, so I think Meryl would secretly like to catch that.
I like to think better of Meryl than for her to have a competitive streak like that.
Well, so let's go for Glenn Close. Glenn Close has never won.
Oh, Glenn Close despeately wants one.
The year
you watched the video of Olivia. I remember yes. I was living in Australia at the time that Olivia Colman won an Oscar, and we like rolled back in from a party on a Monday morning, and it was like because of the time difference.
Yeah,
she was winning her Oscar live, and I remember being like a bit like out of it and watching this on TV. It was like on TV live, but it was like 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, whilst it was happening in America. And I remember watching Glenn Close's face go, like whilst Olivia Colman won, and I thought, oh, get over it. What the wife? It wasn't even good.
The thing is, I'm Team Close all the way. I think I'm so desperate for her to win an Oscar.
Why?
Because I think she's a phenomenal actress and has been one of the best actors.
But the time has passed. The time has passed. She should have won for
How dare
102
you.
Dalmatians.
Yeah, she should have.
The thing is,
When
she's
she-
unironically brilliant.
She got turned into a cake.
That's
Cruella de Vil, yeah, she's amazing.
I still think it will happen for Glenn Close. I think she'll end up winning the Sean Connery, Jack Palance let's
I
give
don't
them an
think it's going to
Oscar.
happen. Yeah, I think that momentum has been behind her for about 2 decades.
So do you
I
think
think she's clearly making bad. Okay, and I'm not a Glenn Close hater by any means. I think like
sounds like you might be.
well, I know, I'm coming off as a huge bitch, but that's sort of just kind of person I am. And no, I don't think I'm not like a Glenn Close hater. I just think that like she is. I don't think that she's making great later in life career choices. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done Hillbilly Elegy, the J.D. Vance autobiography, and
Yeah.
she would have like lobbied for the role of Aunt Gladys in Weapons, and she would have won. Like Amy Madigan, without any kind of the like 2 decade long momentum, wins an Oscar for that.
I agree with everything that you've just said. Oh, I think you're absolutely spot on. She's gone for she's too often gone for the Oscar baity, what she thinks is the Oscar baity role, and the movie's turned out to be total cat shit,
Exactly.
or worse still, boring.
Yes,
Yeah.
The Wife was boring.
It's nice for me and Tim. It's nice to meet a fellow Oscars fan.
Well, I think there's something deeply homosexual about the phrase Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. I think that's like what a camp series of words. What a like a deeply like that. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
That like Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress evokes the same feeling linguistically as La Cage aux Folles. Do you know what I mean? It does to me. And I think that like the concept of the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress is as big a factor in my homosexuality as, say, having sex with another man. Like a huge, like I think, and also I think there is like a best of the best there, and I do think it's Catherine Zeta-Jones in Chicago. That is the best supporting actress of the best supporting actresses.
That is a mad win.
Of all of them, it's the best of all of them, and it's like it couldn't be anything other than supporting, even though they have equal sort of screen time. Like it is supporting of Roxy's story, and also just Catherine Zeta-Jones is so amazing, and it's just like I think that's my favorite of them.
Great pick. Timo, do you have any other than the best supporting actress? Do you have a favorite Oscars winner or speech or moment or anything like that? I'll get mine off my. I unironically love Matthew McConaughey's acceptance speech.
I
Hang on, Don McGovern just walked out and slammed the door.
Yeah, I just thought I heard you talk about like a man's moment at the Oscars, and I thought, sorry, it's for girls. Let them have it.
My favorite speech is Dustin Hoffman's Kramer versus Kramer speech. I think it's perfect. I think it's absolutely perfect and lovely and great.
What does he say in that?
He goes, "Wow, I beat Peter Sellers." I found that a bit rough for Peter Sellers.
I do not believe I've beaten Peter Sellers, and so on. It's just lovely. He's talking about actors driving taxi cars, learning their lines and stuff. It's great. I can't do it justice, but I will send it to you.
Is it akin to Olivia Colman being like, I used to be a cleaner and I loved that job, but I did practice my speech in the mirror.
You know what? Ish. It's more. It stands up for actors more. No offense, Olivia.
Oh, so what's a good one? Charlie Chaplin's honorary Oscar, where
That's
people are literally shouting "Bravo."
Oh, that's nice.
That's great. That's a full standing O.
Oh yeah.
Domo, do you have one? Yours is Zeta-Jones then.
No, well, actually, no, I don't. I can't really think of the moments from the Oscars themselves. I don't know. But Catherine Zeta-Jones is like, she's like 7 or 8 months pregnant when she gets her Oscar, which is actually really nice. I just love when I love it when
You like when Chris Rock got slapped? Jesus.
yeah, I loved when I found that embarrassing. And I think I might be the only one who thought that was embarrassing. I'd be like, I can't watch the footage of that. I can't be like, oh, I'm not that kind of person. I have to be like,
I'm with you. I'm total agreement.
Horrible.
And when you see it now, when
like
that time has passed, you're like, what on earth?
It wasn't even that deep, man.
Yeah.
Like Nikki Glaser and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey are saying way harsher stuff at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
In their opening speeches.
Well, look, let's jump from the Oscars to another potential award winner. Dom, please talk us through.
Please don't ever say that.
Tim, can you use that as the clip this week?
Me blurting out. Don't say that.
Came from a place of love. John, please talk us through Edinburgh this year.
Sorry, that's just sort of a visceral reaction when I get when anyone says I'm trying to sort of expel the demon from my body whenever anyone talks about the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. So the Edinburgh Fringe, if you're not familiar with it, listeners, it's kind of like it's this sort of incredibly glamorous festival of ideas. That it's sort of like a Dubai-like experience in that it's full of cunts and it's run on slave labor, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for the entire month of August. I'll probably get up on the 2nd of August, I'd say. And I am. I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky. I get to pay maybe like £20 million to be going. I'm having to do a sort of like dog day afternoon situation where I'm robbing several banks, but it's not to fund any kind of like gender affirming surgery. It's to fund me. I'm doing a show at the Fringe. I'm doing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe. It's called Prize Hog. It is my first hour of stand up. First time doing an hour. Which I think if you're a dickhead, you use the terminology of being a debutante. But that does make me want to sort of garrote myself.
I'd say debutante is even more camp than best supporting actress.
No.
Okay,
because it's performatively French.
Okay.
Unlike Marion Cotillard, who's authentically French, or Bérénice Bejo, What am I talking about? Oh, I'm doing an hour of stand-up. It's called Prize Hog. It's on at the Edinburgh Fringe at the Pleasance Courtyard, Bunker 1, every day from the 5th to the 30th of August, not the 18th, at 8:30 p.m.
Timo, please pick the bones out of that time. Basically, Don, because Tim is Mr. Edinburgh, whenever someone says their time, I always love to hear Tim's opinion.
Oh yeah, please.
Prime
Tim, this
time.
is what my bisexual friends do with star signs.
yeah. So yeah, you were one of the shows to be selected for the Edinburgh Fringe. Congrats, big win. 8:30. It's prime time. It's good stuff.
Prime time, baby.
People are starting to get a bit rowdy potentially, but you're one of our resident MCs. You're ready for it. You're primed. You're great with.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like.
Yeah, it is a bit like that.
I think
it's not 10. We're not going like.
Oh, I see.
But it's also like it's chill. It's not like, I don't know. I did a split bill at Edinburgh a couple of years ago when I was like very, very new to comedy. I've been doing it less than a year, and I was like, this is my chance to make a big splash. And it was at 4:30 in the afternoon in a venue called the Subatomic, which is part of Just the Tonic. All of these fucking. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
All of these fucking venues at the Edinburgh Fringe, they're all like they know that it is like, while it's an amazing place to like explore shows and like see stuff and meet people, I do love going. I think they know that it is sort of like a deeply spiritually evil place, and that's why so many of the venues are named as if there is like a nuclear war happening, and they're all called like Bunker, Subatomic, Nucleus.
That's great. That's
Bunker
really
1,
good.
Bunker 2. And I was doing a split bill in 2023. I cannot stress to you how like I've been doing comedy. I've been like trying to do comedy properly for like 6 months, and I was doing a half-hour split bill to a 120-seater room.
That's when we first met.
4:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, it is. You were taking the show before.
Yeah, which was John Robbins, who's been on the radio for over a decade,
and he was doing a 3 p.m. show. And there'd be like hundreds and hundreds of people coming out every time, and me and Zoe would be waiting to go in. There'd be like 4 people, and they wouldn't enjoy it that much.
I was emceeing a show one Edinburgh in a big nightclub. I forget which one. And it was huge, cavernous. And when there weren't enough people in, and we decided that we should pull it, the euphoria that we felt. Is that we scored a goal? Like, hugging each other. Yes. Did you ever do that, or did you do it every
We
single time?
powered through every single day. And there were some days like we never sold 120 tickets in full, but we sold like 100 tickets one Saturday because it was a free show.
Yeah,
That's
So
great.
it was like it was worth doing. And scene. We always we did it every we were in this 120 seater venue, and the first day that we did it, we had one person in. Like I think by my understanding, that's the only time I've done a full month at the Fringe. My understanding is that like the first couple of days are rough numbers wise.
I don't know who's up there. I don't know who's going to shows in those first few days.
every time I did Edinburgh, numbers were rough every day.
Well, I'm
sort of
sort
like
of
a
trying to
month-long thing.
convince
It's a
myself
month
that
of-
might not, I'm trying to hope that won't happen. But it does worry me. It's sort of intensely.
You know what I did? I must say, if I did a show with like called Ben, an evening show, North versus South. That was great every night. So just like to apologise. Self-deprecation. I went too far. But for me, most of them were tough. May I ask, Dom? Right, and this is. I'm going to sound like a parent here. There is heat. There is heat on the McGovern bandwagon. Tim and I are. We're helping to try drive the bandwagon. But because there is heat, why are you doing Edinburgh? But what I mean is there not enough buzz in London? So why do you genuine question? Why do you feel the need to do Edinburgh?
I think that's actually such an interesting way of phrasing it, because like my instinct is to be like, oh, I don't know about the heat thing. Like I don't know what heat means. I don't know like where's that coming from? Because to me, like a lot of that comes from the kind of people who've like won awards or been on TV, and I don't think I've done that. Like I've not done the BBC New Comedy Awards, and I've not got like a couple of like guest spots on various sitcoms, and I've not done this and that, and I've not got one of these sort of like big like Edinburgh industrial complex producers that some people, do you know, I mean, there are people whose like jobs full time year round is to do Edinburgh as like a mega producer, and I don't have any of them. So like for me, it actually feels like I am a small drop in a big ocean, which kind of stresses me out about Edinburgh. And so I'm kind of trying to do Edinburgh to like not just to do like a sort of big career momentum thing. Like I think unfortunately the way that the comedy industry works in this country is that so much of it comes from Edinburgh. Like so many people look at Edinburgh as a marker of what kind of people are sort of coming up. So I always said that I wanted to do it this year. I think I basically said like I would say to my friends like I want to do it. I want to do the hour, because I've had the idea for this hour in my head for such a long time. Like that this is the sort of industry answer. Like the reason I want to do Edinburgh is because I have an idea for an hour long show, and I've had this topic that I want to talk about, and a couple of stories from my life that I wanted to talk about for ages. And for me, it feels like kind of a risk for it to be a debut show, because like people, when they do their debut shows, it's like a lot of the time it's like, these are my three characteristics and this is how they came to be. I am XYZ person and this is how that happened. And it's kind of not that. But I also don't want it to be like a sort of trauma porn show. So it's sort of, you know, I'm trying to sort of talk about kind of rare, and they're not heavy topics to me, but I understand that you have a duty of care to your audience, and they might be heavy topics for other people. So, sort of like doing a show about that, and that's like an interesting. That's it's a sort of an interesting reason for me to sort of creatively want to do an hour. I want to explore stuff that you can't explore in like a 20-minute set. But back to the sort of industry thing, like I want to sort of get my name out there a little bit more and be seen by people that I might not be seen in other arenas.
100%, absolutely.
That's
What a brilliant
why I
answer.
wanted to do it. And I basically was saying, like, I would always say to my friends, like, well, I would do it. I'd just fucking go to Edinburgh if I had like an agent and a producer. I'd love to have an agent. I'd love to have like when I have an agent, then I'll be able to do it. And then like this time last year, I got an agent, and I was like, well, no, I don't know if I'll fucking do it.
And then also from your point of view, to go full McGovern bandwagon. It's a way of, it's people who might not be, people in the industry who may not be au fait with you. It's a chance for you to go, right, well, fucking come and see the show then. You know, that's.
I hope so. I genuinely hope so, because like I think comedy, like I understand, I know that everyone's busy and like budgets are tight and like lots of people, like everyone is trying to sort of spin gold out of a couple of meters of yarn. And I know
Yeah.
that things are difficult for everyone, but I don't think people are going to see that much live comedy unless it's super buzzy and it's someone that has been had like a script commission for whatever kind of TV production company there is, or it's someone who's already done Edinburgh and there's been a bit of buzz around them in Edinburgh and
Yeah.
they're doing their show at the Soho Theatre.
Now, for the listener, I was nodding so much throughout there. I've got RSI. Timo, if we could pick some Edinburgh people, Edinburgh comedians, where, sorry, what I mean by that term is, even if they didn't win, they did come back from Edinburgh all the buzzier for it. Sam Cam did win, but that would be one example. Finn Taylor would be a big one, who it felt to me, he did an Edinburgh one year, didn't win, but I remember Christian Knowles, I think he might have even dropped him an email or had a word with him basically saying, you are this year, definitely you are the buzzy person. So there are countless examples of people who've done Edinburgh and have unquestionably come away
A couple of
all
my
the better
friends.
for.
Well, like
Go on.
Iowade is obviously such like a great example. Like, even though
Iowade Bamboye,
she's like,
great.
she's written her name in like, you know, and she's written her name in lights, and the lights are sort of permanently on. You know, that's sort of rubbish metaphor to use. But my friends Thor and Hassan both went up with their first shows last year, and we've sort of all known each other since before we had agents or anything like that, and we were doing like early sort of. I think Thor's been doing it a little bit longer than Hassan and I. I think Hassan has been doing it. I think basically, I feel like they're kind of like the year above me, maybe. But they both went and did shows last year that have just sort of had such a resounding and sort of rolling success that I think is really admirable. And like, it's so amazing to watch your friends work hard on something that creatively means a lot to them and build something that we're not like. When you start doing comedy, it's very rare for people to start doing comedy by being like, I'm going to write an hour right now and I'm going to do that straight away. Like, you have to sort of like prize your way in through the cracks in the pavement. And I think it's really admirable when anyone commits themselves to writing like a fringe hour, because it's such a interesting sort of creative project, and it's very different to like a sort of Netflix TV special hour as well.
What would when you let the mind wander? What would be the dream dom? What would be the dream dom vehicle? Even if it's 5-10 years time, is it a dom? Is it a chat show?
I don't know. I think I'm too much of a like nasty little cunt for a chat show. Can I say cunt on this?
But that's is that not a great format?
We're gonna come to my inspirations of being a huge bitch. When you ask me the questions that I know you're going to ask me, maybe a chat show. I love Graham Norton. I think he's so good, and I think he's almost kind of underutilized by hosting his own chat show, because he's such a funny and interesting and charismatic and dynamic and intelligent person that to be like, there are some moments on the Graham Norton show where it's like absolutely golden. Like there was one episode I remember watching, it was like Adele and Jack Whitehall are both on the sofa, and there's another episode where it's like Joan Rivers, Johnny Knoxville, and Catherine Tate, and like the alchemy of those people. But some of the time you're going to have to like interviewing Mark Wahlberg about like why he gets up at 4 a.m. to read the Bible and go to the gym for 7 hours. It's like, that's not that interesting. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's kind of it's an interesting one.
We talk about Norton a lot.
Yeah.
The guy is, in the history of chat shows in the world ever, he could well be the greatest of all time.
Oh my God. Absolutely. Like, way better than some, like, with love to the Yanks, so much better than any of the Americans.
I'm a Letterman guy to my bones. In terms of interviewing, Graham Norton blows him out the water. Jesus Christ.
Because there's an element of flirtation that the Americans don't have.
He's so good. He's phenomenal at what he does. I could absolutely see a Don McGee. What about you? Act a bit as well, don't you?
I do. I started off like I acted. I didn't do any comedy at university. I didn't even do like the sketch review or anything like that. I didn't. I was just doing like serious plays. I was like doing like touring Shakespeare and stuff. When I left university, I was doing like touring Shakespeare, trying to get
Hang
into
on.
drama schools.
Do you not suffer with the? And I've told this on this before. Gene Wilder. I think it was Gene Wilder. Mel Brooks went to see Gene Wilder in a serious production, and Mel Brooks basically said to Gene Wilder, "Mate, you're too funny. You're gonna have to. You've got to do comedy." Because when I'm watching you,
That's kind of how I started end up doing stand up.
Yeah, I can see.
I was
that
doing
all
like the
day long.
National Youth Theatre, and my friends were like, "Why don't you try doing stand up?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I do like that. I've never tried it." And then I didn't actually like just try doing it properly for another like 5 years. But then, you know, that was the germination of like, oh, I could do that rather than just watch that.
100%. Because you've had you're funny bones from the womb, aren't you? You were like this at primary school. You were hilarious.
I was actually very, very shy child. I was very funny. I learned to be funny because I had no other way of making friends. I couldn't be. I was the entertainer at home, and like in I've got like a big Irish family. Like my mum's one of seven. They've all got partners apart from the priest, and they've all got kids. So I have like I don't like at like a family gathering there would be like minimum 14, 15 kids. And my cousins are either all like 5 years older or 5 years younger. So I was kind of like, and that's obviously a huge age gap when you're kids. So I was either having to like try and desperately like get in with the older cousins, or I'd have to be like babysitter to the younger cousins. So the way that I got around that, I was like, well, I'll make the adults be friends with me by showing them all my impressions of Catherine Tate. And so I would be at like family barbecues doing impressions of characters from the Catherine Tate show, and that's where I would be like outgoing. But at school, I was very bookish and quiet and not. I went to like one of those schools where it was like everyone's fucking football mad. Like all anyone talks about is football, football, football. This one I was like a young child. I'm talking about primary school here. So I was just very, very quiet. And then I was quite a big boy as well. So when I got to secondary school, I was like even more quiet and more reserved. And I think I remember the first time thinking like, oh, I'm really funny is when I got in like year 9 or year 10, they sat me next to they were like in the classrooms, it'd be like a row of 6 and then a row of 2. So, and like an aisle for the teacher to walk down. And I got sat next to the naughtiest boy in the year. And they were like, he'll be a good influence on him. And I would just spend the entire lesson like riffing, and then we'd both get in trouble. And it was definitely me being like I would spend the whole time like doing jokes and jokes and to sort of ingratiate myself with him, so that I wouldn't be the target of anyone else in the year. And like I sort of slowly developed a reputation as someone who was like quick-witted and funny, and like so that the sort of like the popular boys or like the football boys or anyone who was sort of like a bigger fish in the school than me would be like, no, he's sound all right. He's all right actually. That's how I noticed. Do you know what I mean? But I was never
I do.
like, apart from in the school musicals, I was never like, I'm going to be a showman.
So it was in
I
Australia,
wasn't
wasn't
class
it?
clown.
What, you weren't class clown.
I wasn't class clown. No.
I was so class clown. It's actually embarrassing when I look back. If you were to cast me in a sitcom of class clown, it would be too on the nose. Because all the cool comedians say what you said. I was actually shy at school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I was more like,
I don't think that. I think
I was like, you know, when Bart
cool
Simpson wants
and
attention,
comedian is,
look at me, I'm doing stuff.
Oh, I was so much more of a Lisa. I was so much more of Lisa. I was like real.
Oh God.
I was just trying to think of an example of like a kind of like a character that like either Leighton Williams in Bad Education or Lisa Simpson is what I was like as a child.
Perfect. So how did the first gig come about?
I did the well, I moved to Australia when I was 22 or 3 maybe. I had tried and failed to get into drama school. I'd been working as like a theatre production company, like a West End production company, and that felt like it was going nowhere. It wasn't where I sort of wanted to be, and I randomly heard of a friend who had been working at the Adelaide Fringe Festival the previous year. So at the beginning of 2019, I moved to Australia to like work at the box office of the Adelaide Fringe. Saw like loads of cabaret and stuff when I was there, and then I went and worked front of house at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And so I was just like on the door for various comedians doing their hour-long show, as it would be in Edinburgh. And I saw loads of comedy. I was like, well, I could do that. In quite an arrogant way. And then I went back to the UK and I did the Soho Theatre Comedy Labs course. And
Which year?
2019.
Right.
Yeah. And I did the Comedy Labs course there. And I was like, oh, this is great. And like, I didn't know how to do, and then I did like a couple of open mics. And then I got a job back in Australia at the beginning of 2020. So I'm like, yeah, 24. And I moved to Perth to again like run a venue. I was like managing a venue, like one of those Spiegel tents that you only get at a fringe. Um, and I was like doing a couple of open mics here and there. I'd truly done like maybe like 3 gigs before leaving the UK. And I did a couple here and there in Perth. And I entered this thing called Raw Comedy,
Yeah.
which is Australia's sort of equivalent of, it's kind of like BBC New Comedy Award and So You Think You're Funny rolled into one. You can only have been going for like 3 years. And obviously like with all of the competitions in the UK, people lie. But it's so it's such a long-winded answer. I did the like entry round of that. I did the semi-finals of that, and I did the state final. It's all done by state final, and so I won the state final in March 2020, and I'd truly done like maybe like 8 gigs or something, which is lucky and a fluke, and maybe yeah, whatever. But and Perth's a very isolated city with love to the people, and so I was meant to be being flown to Melbourne to do the sort of grand final in front of 1,500 people, but this was March 2020, so that got shut down, and I had to make the choice like, do I stay in Perth living with the boyfriend that I had at the time, or do I move back to the UK and live in my parents' house? And I moved back to the UK, and so then I just didn't do any comedy for 2 years because I was like, oh, this was such a rare and brilliant opportunity. It's probably not meant for me to be in this situation. So I didn't do any stand up, and like all the gigs were on Zoom, and that made me want to sort of, I was like, well, I'd rather not do that. And so then I started, then I'd been in contact with them about going back to the Melbourne Comedy Festival in 2021. But I hadn't done any comedy, so I wouldn't have done any practice. And and then all the borders were closed and stuff. And so then in 2022, they said that I could come back and do the final again. But I hadn't been doing any comedy for like 2 years. And I still had I was still able to be there. So and then I was like, God, I've got better to get some fucking gigs under my belt. This is in like March 2022. So I did like 3 open mics in the UK, flew back to Australia with the intention of like, well, the only place I can successfully do stand up is Australia. So I went back to Australia. This is such a long story, but yeah. So then I did the final of Raw Comedy. I was in the Raw Comedy National Final, which is like the people who've won it or been finalists before is like Hannah Gadsby and Ronnie Cheng and Aaron Chen, loads of people. Lots of Australian comedians that you would have, Becky Lucas, whatever. And so I did the final of that. Obviously, I had done 12 gigs in my life, all of them open mics. Barely had like 5 minutes to my name. I did like okay, sort of scraped by on like bravado alone. And then I was like, I had the intention of like, I'm gonna have to live in Australia because the only place that I can do stand-up comedy is Australia. Truly having done maybe 9 open mics in the United Kingdom. and then and then my visa ran out and I had to move back to the UK.
Oh my God.
So it's quite like a weird story. So for me, I consider myself as having started in 2022, but I think I technically did like the first early stand-ups in 2019 and then just didn't do anything between March 2020 and March 2022.
To achieve
a full 2 years.
To achieve what you've achieved in essentially 4 years is borderline unheard of. That's
very kind, but
phenomenal.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I live with my parents in Hounslow. But it's very that's very kind, thank you. And it's very it's just a bit hard to see like the wood from the trees, you know, when you're like in the weeds yourself, you know.
So when you were doing like writing on Chicken Shop Date, when was that? So it's like 2 years into your comedy career.
So then I moved back to the UK in 2022, and I was at a wedding. I was at a queer wedding, if you can believe that they let them do that now. James, I know you vastly disapprove of gay marriage.
Tim, can you use that as a clip this week?
Yeah, clip that, please.
Thanks very much.
But if you could use that when James was doing this earlier.
Maybe use AI for me to say something even more shocking.
Yeah. But you're like it's your head, but you're a strawberry.
Yeah. Saying it's Adam and Eve, not Adam, you know.
Yeah. I'd because I'd been front of house at Melbourne Comedy Festival, and like the door, like I was literally on one room the entire time, and the acts that were in it went Eleanor Tiernan, Ed Knight, Tom, oh my God, why can I not remember his name? Australian act, sort of
Tom Walker.
Tom Walker, incredible. Sorry, Tom Walker. I was trying to say Tom Ward, but because there's also a Tom Ward. Tom Walker, who's incredible. And then Zach Zucker. That was who was on this room in 2019. Wow. So I was sort of like vaguely like...
Wow.
So I sort of felt like I've always felt like a bit of like a huge interloper in the sort of comedy world, because I started out as being like someone's front of house, even though no one's ever like directly made me feel like that. Or I think like if I interrogated that feeling, that's obviously just all from up in here. But then in 2019, I met this wonderful woman at this gay wedding called Inez Gordon, if you know Inez, amazing comedy producer, runs a night called Frida Carlol. And she said, "Oh, you've been doing comedy. Why don't you come and do a little slot at my show?" And so I did Frida Carlol and like sort of started from there.
Where is Frida Carlol?
It's at Bar Donya in Stoke Newington.
Amazing. Well, hang on, and that's and Chicken Shop Dates came from that.
No, God, sorry, that's such a it really goes. Then I did that OnlyFans competition, and then I did. But yeah, we can go into that if you want, but it's crazy.
Then, yes.
Chicken Shop Dates.
I've got this amazing story. If you want to hear it.
It's not, but it's also like I think about how long it took me to tell you that story about just basically like, I did an open mic competition in Australia was basically the thrust of that story.
Dom, we're both on the edge of our seats. This is fantastic.
Amelia de Moldenberg used to work with Inez, and I think asked Inez for a list of. So Anya used to write for Chicken Shop Day. I think still sometimes does when she's not like hugely busy with her own very successful career.
Yeah. When she's not been a comedy megastar in her own.
Yeah, when she's not sort of like on TV and on stage all the time working really hard. She still sometimes does Chicken Shop Day episodes. And Amelia asked Inez and also asked a separate friend for like a list of names who might be good for it. And I think it was lucky that my name was on both of them. This would have been in 2024. And so the producer for it just reached out to me and said, "Hey, we've heard that you might be good for this. Would you be keen to write an episode, like one as a trial?" And it was the Andrew Garfield episode, and that went quite well.
What are you talking about?
I don't write. I did, like people, when I say that I write for Chicken Shop Date, people are like, "Oh my God, it's scripted. They've scripted the flirting." It's like obviously not. It's obviously all improvised. You just write the questions.
But what an episode to write! You know, I mean, it's one of the most iconic episodes, isn't it?
Thanks. Yeah.
Said the 48-year-old man. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean, though. That, and I would say surely Garfield and Louis Theroux are they're the two that spring to mind for me anyway.
Yeah,
amazing. But again, that all adds to the heat, doesn't it? All adds to the Dom bandwagon.
Thanks. Yeah, that's nice. But the chicken chop day thing, people are like, "Oh my God, you write for chicken chop day?" But it's like, well, I've written like 7 episodes, which means it's like that's like maybe like 10 to 14 days work of my life. So it's not like a huge like portion of my life, but like
That's
it
a
takes
lot.
like up an outdated,
I just looked up.
outsized. It is
That's
an
a
amazing
lot.
thing to do, and I really enjoy doing it. Like, obviously, I write like 50 or 60 questions per episode, and like not all like not even all near all of them get used, obviously, because Amelia writes all of her own as well. She's got like a very journalistic approach to it. That can't be understated. Obviously, I think it's an amazing thing, and like a really sort of like interesting and fun format. But it's just like I think she wants like a separate viewpoint perspective.
Yeah.
So I write loads and loads of questions that most of them don't get used. Like I had huge Spider-Man sections, and like for Andrew Garfield, and he only allowed one of them to be said.
Well, you said, hang on, you said something really crazy. Is it the Garfield thing that's crazy?
Or was it the OnlyFans competition?
It was
the
OnlyFans
Oh,
competition.
Christ. Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Tim.
crazy. It's so crazy. So in 2022, end of 2022, I was like I was working 2 jobs. I had a job at a charity and I was tutoring every evening. So like my ability to do open mics, I was doing like 1 open mic, maybe 2 a month was all I could do, which is just no way to build a career. And I moved back to the UK. I had no connections, no nothing, whatever. So I was like slowly chipping away. And so I see this thing advertised. It's the OnlyFans Creative Fund comedy competition. So every year, OnlyFans who like are trying to branch out of their reputation of just doing sexual content, like they want to be like a sort of Patreon, which is how they started, like a Patreon kind of
Yeah.
platform. So they do like a creative fund where they have a pot of money that they give away to one creative who wins a competition. And like the first series was like people who made music in their bedroom. They did a fashion design series, and then they decided to do a stand-up one. So they wanted new comedians. They said new comedians. Now, anyone, obviously, I think you've got an incredibly comedy savvy audience who will know that a lot of the time in the UK, when something says newcomer, it doesn't mean newcomer. When something says BBC New Comedy Award, it means someone who's been doing stand up for 9 years or whatever. Not just whatever, you know what I mean.
I was just about to say, I was about to say 10 years. So we're on the exact same page there, you know.
Yeah. It's
Best
amazing.
newcomer,
It's amazing
Bob
to know.
Monkhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Chaplin. So amazing. He went to Le Coq. But they actually they were like these American producers who actually wanted newcomers. So like when people were applying for it, like there are people who had like won So You Think You're Funny, or like would go on to had just been nominated for the best newcomer award at Edinburgh, who were entering this thing because of the size of the prize money, which was £50,000. And so they were going to give £50,000 away to a newcomer comedian. I was like, well, I'm a newcomer comedian. And so I was honest in the application. I was like, I'm brand new. I've been doing open mics. I've never really been paid for I think like the most I'd been paid £50 for 1 gig at that point. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I'd only done 5 minutes apart from one 10-minute slot. And which was at Frida Kahlo, actually. And so I entered this thing, and
This is great sponsored content. This whole episode for Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just shout out Inez. I think she's amazing and really, like you guys, she's one of those people that's like, let's platform new people.
That's great. I don't think I know Inez, but what a legend.
Yeah, she is a legend.
Anyway, sorry, I've got
anyway, so
£50,000. Yeah,
£50,000, and they're like, so they want new comedians, and so I said like, look, I'm an open micer, and so they got in contact a week before, like, yeah, we're going to be filming over the course of a week at the Bill Murray. There's going to be 10 comedians. It's going to be like a knockout process. And then if you get to the final, you'll win £50,000. So I get there, and I thought it was going to be like, do stand up with these people, then some judges and an audience. It wasn't like there was like 3 challenges. There was 10 of us, some of whom you'll know, like Mary O'Connell, Hassan Al Habib, Zoe Brownstone, and Maddie HW. Just lots of good people, and we were all like brand new, or new to the UK anyway. And so the first challenge is like, you have to create and film like your own comedy skit video,
No.
30-second skit video, and then we'll post it on our TV platform, OFTV, and the people will vote, and the two people with the fewest votes get booted out of the competition. So that happens, they go. Then we do a show where we have to write, we get paired off with each other, and you have to write material for the other person and perform it to the other contestants, and then we have to vote for who we think were the weakest ones, and they leave the competition. So it was like real, like they were trying to like make reality TV out of it. And so I got paired with Mary, which is, I think, like I sort of knew at the time that these producers were being like, we'll pair these two off because we want to see them in the final. Which was my first moment of TV subterfuge, I would say. And then we get so that
first of many.
I'm currently watching the Hunger Games with the Nippers. I'm getting real comedy Hunger Games vibes.
It was like that, but like
Squid Game.
But like all the people, the producers of it, I was like very grateful to. It was like, it's a huge opportunity that changed my life, but it was sort of like random as fuck. And then the third challenge, so 2 people left there, so then there's 6 of us left, right? And this has all happened over 4 days. All any of us are thinking are like, when are we gonna get to fucking do some stand-up comedy, which is why we signed up for this fucking thing in the first place, rather than like me writing material, me performing material that Mary has written for me. Mary and I have known each other for 3 days, so obviously all of my material for her is like, I'm mixed race and bi. And all of her material for me was like gay. Like, obviously, like I can't emphasize enough how like none of this is like good. It's not good. And then so we get to the third challenge, and they were like, we're going to take you out for dinner. It's been a stressful week, and so we go out for dinner, and they're like, okay, final challenge. Before the final, you're going to get to do 5 minutes of stand-up comedy. Remember, you're doing it for OnlyFans, so make it as sexual as possible. Do a bit of blue stuff if you want. Nothing's off limits at this blue gig. But we're like, all we hear is like, we're going to get to do stand-up. We're going to get to do stand-up, which is what we signed up for. And if we get through this challenge, we'll be in the final. I could win £50,000. So we're like in a taxi beside Backyard Comedy Club in Bethnal Green, and we're like listening to like 212. We're like hyping each other up. It doesn't matter who gets through this bit, but you go out there, you leave it all on the floor. Remember, they've told us to do like blue material, and so I'm on 5th of 6 people. Hassan's gone on before me, and you're not going in through the audience, you're going in through like the side fire doors. There's no MC. They've told us there's no MC. We'll just be going on after each other, and we're like, that must be a TV thing, I guess. I don't even know why. It must be a TV thing that we don't understand because we're stupid little open micers. And then I walk into this room, and one of the production guys holds me there, and he's like, "You're gonna go on in a minute." All I can hear is like, can you hear that?
No, but like pounding,
like banging, bang, 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 like the sound of like metal against wood. And then the voiceover. No, it's not even a voiceover. I just have to introduce myself. The guy's like, go on stage. And so I walk on stage. I run on stage. And the banging is in Backyard Comedy Club. There is maybe 100 people in their 70s and up banging their cutlery on the table because they've been offered a free dinner. They've just got 100 people in their 70s and up off the street. They said, we'll give you a free dinner if you come in and watch this comedy show, and you can heckle if you want. No. You get a free dinner. And they had like, over the course of the previous 4 acts, they'd gone up and got their own meals, and they didn't feel that they had got enough food. So they were banging their cutlery on the table.
To protest.
And I had to come on. The idea of the challenge was like, let's give them the worst gig imaginable.
Well, congratulations.
Give them a big gig imaginable. And so I get on stage, and I'm like, the material, I'm so new that I was like, I didn't know how to like change my material. So I was just like, all I had was the stuff that I was going to be saying. So I was like, blah, 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 sucking off, blah, 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 gay sex, blah, 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 anal bum time. All these old people were like, oh, I remember there was oh, it was so humiliating. There was a table of like women in there who couldn't have been closer to death, like looked like Mother Teresa, and they like with their crucifixes so obviously round, like you know if you see like a footage of like a Greek funeral and there's like mourning clothes. That's how, in my memory. That's how they live.
As
And
you're
like,
talking,
like
one of them's performing the sign.
They're clutching their crucifixes. I'm not exaggerating. And one of them goes. When I'm on stage, and I just had to like power through, and I was like, I was like, this is utterly humiliating. And there was like a guy heckling me, and so I sort of like bit back, but like all I knew how to do was be like sassy gay at the time. So I was like, yeah, oh honey, do you know what I mean? Like I was sort of like modeling my personality off like one of the bitchiest contestants on RuPaul's Drag Race. And so I think that probably got some good. I've never watched this episode because it was so humiliating at the time. And I walked off stage. They'd specifically told us to walk through the crowd. You had to walk through the crowd, like fucking Cersei Lannister getting shamed in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I was so stressed. I walked off the side of the stage, face first into one of the cameras, and then had to get back on the stage whilst there was like maybe 4 people out of 100 going.
Oh.
And I remember being like, that was so humiliating. That was so humiliating. And then there's like in Backyard Comedy Club, there is like a sort of like a sort of there's 2 sets of double doors between the bar and the comedy club room. And so after like the five most humiliating moments of my life, I will say there was probably about 10 people in the room who were kind of enjoying it.
Yeah, sure.
But they were the blokes who'd probably had like they'd been the old Irishmen had been in the pub for like 6 hours before, and they were a bit like, yeah. And because I was like all I knew how to do, like my gut instinct was like, be as gregarious as possible on stage. Do not let them show fear. Don't let them show fear at all. Don't capitulate to it. Do you know what I mean? It was like a fight or flight response, and mine was just sort of like get louder and gayer and higher pitched. Anyway, so I get off the stage, and there's like a holding pen in this sort of like this tiny room in between the bar and the comedy room. And they've got all the cameras set up in the bar for you to come out to get your live reaction. But they're still interviewing Hassan from when he'd been on stage before.
God.
So I could see through the glass doors what was happening. No, we hadn't been told anything that was going to happen, basically. It was all happening live. And so I could see they were interviewing him, and they were like, oh, they want a live reaction. They want me to come off stage and barrel through the doors and like cry or throw up or scream or be like get some good TV, get the kind of like X Factor contestant screaming at the judges moment that they wanted because they'd set it all up to be the worst gig of your life. And I was like, they want to see the moment of weakness because this is all an arbitrary judging process. And whoever reacts the worst, that's who doesn't go to the final, because the party line will be, you can't handle yourself under pressure.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had like maybe 2 minutes, and I was like, I've just got to start maniacally laughing. I've got to be like cackling at the top of my lungs. I have to be like, even though like I sort of wanted to cry, I actually didn't want to cry. I was like, well, that was just dumb. Like,
Sure.
I was like, I sort of like, my gut reaction when I got off stage, I was like, I wanted to cry. And then I had 2 minutes to myself in this room before they let me through. And I was like, but that's just silly. That was the worst gig well, yeah, of course that was the worst gig in the world. Like, but it's not, I don't think it's always going to be like that. I don't think there's going to be like a sort of like free soup kitchen with a load of like pensioners in revolt at any real life gig. And if there is, I'll chat to them properly and I would know. So I was like, I just have to be like, and they let me through the doors, and I was like, guys, that was crazy what you just did. Oh my God. Yeah, it was obviously hard. It was like humiliating, but like you knew what you guys. And then I was like, and so they put me through everyone was off once the cameras were off. We were like, you're fucked up for that. You're actually fucked up. There's a duty of care, and you've not really done that. Especially for the acts who like, it was fine for me. Like there were a couple of the heckles.
Good for
like,
you.
Bordered on the homophobic, but I think you put a group of a diverse group of comedians on stage in front of like 100 pensioners, most of whom are white. It's a duty of care, particularly for like the non-white comedians. If you're just getting these random pensioners, which they had, they'd literally gone around to loads of the pubs and they'd said, come to this comedy show. You can't guarantee that these people aren't going to heckle something racist. And a couple of them said stuff that was like kind of on the border.
Sure.
And like, if you told us to do sex stuff, like Maddie's gay, I'm gay, I was talking about gay sex, and like they were clearly like not. Do you know what I mean? It was like actually not well thought through at all. And so anyway, they put us all through to the final, and then we did the final, which was at Hoxton Hall, and the judges were May Martin, Jamali Maddox, and London Hughes. And we all did 10 minutes, and it was my second time ever doing 10 minutes. And I came runner-up, and that prize money, the runner-up prize money, allowed me to quit my second job and start doing more than one open mic per week, which allowed me to have
amazing
momentum. So I only had to have one job.
How much did you win for second?
£25,000.
I mean, that's great, isn't it?
On the day of the final, they were like, "Oh, and by the way, we said that one of you is going to win £50,000. The two runners up will get £25,000 each. And you know what? The winner, £100,000.
Yeah.
So the winner got £100,000.
So Mary bagged 100K.
Yeah, and it's like a life-changing amount of money for all of us. Like I was like, and by far and away, like I just moved out of home. I just moved out of home, and I was working a 9 to 5 every single day. And like, and this is not me being woe as me. Like, obviously, other people have like much more difficult circumstances. But I was working as a tutor. I was doing tutoring maybe like 9 students a week, as well as working a day job. And it just meant that I didn't have to work in the evenings as much because I could use little bits of this prize money to pay my rent.
That's incredible.
And earn money from the job that I was working in the day. And it meant that like I could then afford to like travel and do an open mic from East London to like Northwest London or like Margate occasionally. Do you know what I mean? So
brilliant.
It did change my life in that way, but like it did mean for like I'd say the first year, because it came out in like the beginning of 2023. We did this, and obviously I'd been doing comedy for like 6 months by that point, and I'd been doing maybe like I said 2 open mics a month because that's all I had time for or could conceivably do. So then I would like be with other sort of like more established comedians, and they would be like, what the fuck, why are you doing that? How did you get that's so annoying? You haven't put the legwork in. So I was like at the beginning of 2023, I remember like writing my New Year's resolutions. I was like, do 2 open mics per week, at least, even if it doesn't go to plan. Not that there was like a plan particularly, but like even if something doesn't start to take off, at least you can say that you've put in the legwork. And so that's what I've just tried to do the last 3 years, basically, is put in as much legwork as possible.
Good for you. Well, it's all paid off.
So, Dom, you are curating your dream fantasy gig. Do you have any pre-gig rituals?
Not super. No, I'm not like. I'm quite a superstitious person. I'm like, if I see like a single magpie, I'm like saluting to it.
Same.
With the right hand and left hand, because I can't remember which one is the right one. And then I do a sign of the cross as well, because my mum told me to do that because she's a Catholic, and so I'm sort of like doing the Macarena. I've got the like old wives' tale variant of OCD. But I don't have any like specific rituals. I actually, if I'm about to go on stage, if they're saying, our next act is gay and annoying or whatever they're saying, and whenever I'm about to be announced to go on stage, I burp 4 times. It has to be more. I don't know. It doesn't matter how many times I burp, but it has to be more than 3. And then I also just have like a pre-show playlist that I listen to. If I'm like, I don't always listen to it pre-show. Ignore the burping thing. That's actually a weird thing to say.
I just made myself burp 4 times. So thank you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
I've never
heard genuinely. Anyone doing the video may have just seen me manage to get 4 out.
Yeah, I can burp. I could burp the alphabet now if I wanted to. I'm a gassy man.
Wow, that's a great talent.
Yeah.
And then I have a playlist.
Love that gift.
Yeah, it's so fun. I wish I could fart with my armpit. It'd be so good. I'd be such a hit with my.
There's the Edinburgh Award.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, sorry.
If I'd trained at French clown school, they'd love me for that. I uh I have a basically if I'm like really nervous for a gig, like a sort of like really big one, I will go on a slightly longer walk than normal. I'll go the way to the gig that takes the longest amount of time to walk. Um,
And then you get to the
and I
Tommy
will
Field.
listen to and I get to the Tommy
Bit
Field.
of fun.
But the first time I did do the Tommy Field, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna always be comedy. This is like I need to prepare. So I'll listen to do you know that song "Point of View" by DB Boulevard?
No,
In
I will
another
listen
way,
to it.
in another point of view. That it's like a 90s kind of like it's all about like rethinking your mindset, I guess technically, while also being like a sort of dance track.
Great. Now
So I listen to that.
PRS on the podcast. Who would MC the gig?
Okay, so I've got two options here. I've got two separate dream gigs. One of them is one that I could conceivably curate with people that I like look up to and admire, and one of them is dead inspirations. What one do you want?
Oh, both. Let's have both.
Okay, should we do dead inspirations through first? So MCing is Paul O'Grady as Lily Savage.
Yeah. Yes,
Hey.
please. Yes, please.
Obviously. Come on. So good. Like it's so amazing to think that they were just putting like not only a drag queen on like prime time BBC One hosting the shows that now they'd have like some sort of like milk toast ex-boy band member presenting, but they would allow Lily Savage to be like a total cunt to people.
Yeah.
Like now the kind of like what would be branded as like diverse programming is sort of like squirreled away to BBC Three or ITV2. There's like a separate place, and then all of the like mainstreamification is on like the main channels. There's like they'd have Paul O'Grady as Lily Savage Friday, Saturday night at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's sort of TV. I think we've had this chat before, Tim. TV in a way has sort of regressed, hasn't it?
It's so small C conservative now in a way that I don't think it was before.
So no shade on Roman Kemp, but say now it might be Roman Kemp hosting something, whereas back then it might be Paul O'Grady as Lily Savage hosting a big
Blankety Blank. I remember Blankety Blank first time I watched it was Lily Savage, and now it's Bradley Walsh.
great example.
That was exactly what I was thinking of, and I thought yeah.
Yeah, me too, actually. So.
Yeah, but like I just said the boy band thing, so I could be like more of a bitch because I'm not. Yeah, but anyway, it's just a huge. I think it's so good that like you're allowed to be a bit mean and it's still funny. It's still funny. Like Paul O'Grady as Lily Savage, Carolina Hearn as Mrs. Merton. These were things that like I would watch with my mum. Like and it, like to be able to make like a barbed comment. Yeah. Like have you ever seen Carolina Hearn as Mrs. Merton being like, it's the classic, but like so Debbie McGee, what was it first attracted you to the millionaire Paul Daniels? It's just so good. One of the best jokes ever. Yeah. But Lily Savage emceeing the gig. It's kind of random. It's a very random lineup, but it's just like people who have inspired me who are dead. Sean Locke.
So hang on. So Sean Locke opening.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's sort of that's a weird mix, but I think and actually any gig works in terms of lineup if the person is good enough and the audience are up for it, which they obviously would be in this situation.
What is it about Sean that you love?
Again, just like dry sort of acerbic, completely like committed.
Yeah, so funny.
And like I never really watched any of his stand-up growing up as a kid, but he was on the panel shows that you'd be watching, and like occasionally live at the Apollo. And so it's only I've sort of come to his work as like an adult, basically post his death really. Because all I sort of knew him from before was like being on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. Yeah. And like that being the thing that was on TV when I was like a teenager that's like, an adult show where they're allowed to be funny, you know? And that's how I discovered like loads of comedians that I now know and love.
Who middles?
Robin Williams.
Oh,
great gig.
Yeah, this is obviously like the most deeply random lineup of people in the world, but the reason that Sean Locke opens like, and you'll see why Robin Williams goes in the middle, but like Robin Williams is such a huge inspiration for me. Just like everything that he does, again, like not afraid to be like a bit camp with it. Have you ever seen him dressed as like a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? Like obviously just like a complete ball of energy, like non-stop commitment to the bit. So deeply funny, like so full of warmth as well. And the reason that he goes in the middle and not the end is because I don't think that the person who's closing could go anywhere other than the end, and that's why it's Joan Rivers.
Great, Bill.
Great.
That aforementioned episode of Norton, I mean, Johnny Knoxville at one point like sinks to his knees and starts doing that in front of Joan Rivers.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
she's
so
honest,
funny. Obviously, like some of her specific turn of phrase, there's some of her specific turn of phrase is like not necessarily to my taste now, but I remember like discovering it as a teenager and being like mouth open in the same way that Lily Savage. It's similar to Lily Savage. It's like I can't believe that they're letting her say this in this format. And some of the stuff obviously is like sort of past the line, but some of the stuff like it's so weird because like there's some stuff that she says that is like beyond what I think is acceptable to say, but there is also a line that a lot of people would think is beyond acceptable to say that I think it is acceptable to say. For example, her talking about like um like men trying to sell plots of land on her vagina because it's so dry when she's got a deal to sell vaginal dryness cream, and she's talking like it's so funny. Then there's like the videos of her going toe to toe with Miss Piggy. Have you ever seen this? Joan Rivers versus Miss Piggy. Two huge. Miss Piggy, the biggest inspiration in my personal life. If she did stand up, she'd be on this gig. But yeah, so Joan Rivers.
Miss Piggy's getting the big screen treatment, isn't she? Is it Emma Stone's making it?
Fucking right? Finally, may I say?
Yeah. So it's Emma Stone. It's one other big hitter as well, isn't it?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
They're producing the Miss Piggy movie.
We're really in it with J-Laws at the moment. We've gone from J-Laws X-Men movies into Hunger Games. So she's having a real moment in the Gill house.
Yeah.
Right. That's a mega bill. Now, what about the one that you could conceivably?
So yeah, this is one that I could conceivably book. These aren't. I don't know all of them necessarily, but okay. So MCing. Obviously, I'd love to do it, but I can't in this scenario.
You can MC it, I think, if you want.
Oh no, that feels a bit arrogant. So I'd love either Jack Barry or my friend Dan Y. If you know Dan Y, I think Dan Y is like charm personified. I think Jack Barry is charm personified, obviously. But Dan Y does both stand up and a character called Seance, who they've had incredible success with. And Seance is just brilliant. And Dan Y is just so funny, so quick witted, so sharp. Has such like a brain for like a bit of wordplay that like I don't think anyone else is doing it like them. So Dan MC. Opening would be Felicity Ward.
Lovely.
A great comedian.
Huge inspiration for me. Before I'd even considered doing stand-up, I remember being at university in 2015 and like going up to the Fringe for the first time because my friends were doing like a musical about the Great British Bake Off or some nonsense like that. At C venues, and we were like, okay, let's splurge, let's go and see a stand-up comedy show at the Pleasance. And we'd heard good things about this woman Felicity Ward, and it was her show What If There Is No Toilet.
Yeah,
maybe her first show.
That's
and
my
she
first Fringe as well.
Performs the whole thing sat on the toilet with like surrounded by toilet rolls somewhere in the Pleasance. I couldn't tell you what room it is now from memory. I remember like physically having to like hold myself in from laughing so much.
Have you told Felicity this?
I've only met her one time. Well, two times. I've only met her one time since becoming a comedian. And then I saw another show of hers when I was in Adelaide, when I was working at the Fringe there. And then I've never done a gig with her, so I've never told her that. But yeah,
she'd be so chuffed.
Yeah.
She's just so. I think she's so brilliant. Like the writing is so good, and it is just like the joke. It's like being punched with the joke like several times to the point that you're like. And then yeah, I took my parents to watch a live at the Apollo recording last year. Obviously you don't know who's going to be on. Felicity Ward closed it, and like I think obviously they record two shows in one night. I think doing the second slot in the second show is probably the hardest thing to do because everyone's being like, "Oh, it's 10:30. Yeah. I've got to get back to Braintree, Essex."
Yeah,
and then people were like doubled over. It was so funny. It's almost like, yeah, I don't know how it's possible to keep that getting better even. Yeah, I think she's amazing.
Michelle de Swart singled out that performance. She was there, wasn't she, that night, Timo?
Yeah. I bumped into Michelle de Swart in the lobby.
She said Jesus Christ.
It was
she was on it.
unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And like I'd seen Felicity Ward, and like obviously I'd seen lots of the shows since, because I kind of knew what I was getting. I wasn't as like shocked to my core as I was the first time I saw her. I remember seeing her for the first time, being like, "This is amazing." Obviously, every time I've seen her since, it's been amazing. But like that first time I saw her doing "What If There Is No Toilet," which is a show about like having anxiety and IBS, like, and it's like like taking the concept of like doing toilet humor and then just taking it to its like nth degree. I think is so funny. And then that live at the Apollo performance, I could not believe how I was like crying with laughter, and next to my mum as well, which was really special. Both of us absolutely crying with laughter.
Great pick. Who would middle?
Katie Norris.
Oh, lovely, great.
I think she's a mad genius. I remember the first time I heard her singing a song about turning her ex-boyfriend into a toad. I was actually going to cheat if I could and do two in the middle. I was going to do Bella Hull and then Katie Norris.
Perfect.
Both of whom I think are so brilliant. Yeah, both like incredible writers and committed to the character that they play on stage. Even if the character is like, I just really like that in a stand-up. Even if the character is like very similar to who you are as a person off stage, like I think that's a really admirable trait.
I think now that Bella's found this sort of like bitchy, gossipy. Hang on, I've said this to Bella's face and I phrased it much better than this. Off stage, Bella is obviously hilarious, and also it's someone that you can enjoy a really good chinwag with. And she's taken that and really made it work.
I think it's just amazing when someone finds the thing, like Chloe Petts said this to me yesterday, something that makes you funny off stage and finding it on stage.
Absolutely.
And I think that like I spent a lot of time in like the early parts of my career. I think probably the first time I came in and did ABC, I was trying to do, and that would have been what, like early 2025, mid 2025 maybe. I was still, up until kind of the beginning of this year, trying to do the kind of like louche, aloof kind of Gen Z-ification, like, oh, I'm kind of above this type of comedy, which is obviously, it works for some people so well, but it's not what I'm like in real life. I'm kind of like neurotic and like catty at the same time. And so like, why not let that bleed into my stage performance? And I think, touch wood, it's made me a better comedian for it. And I think that yeah, I just think Bella and Katie both have that thing that's like, obviously Katie's a lot more warm in real life than the kind of like, listen up, you beta cucks that she plays on stage. But there is still an element of that in her, and she lets that sort of like as a stand-up, that, God, this makes me sound like such a cunt, but like using your body to sort of like channel that bit that is the sort of like your id out of you on from the stage to the audience.
Sure.
That's really good, I think.
Who would close?
Michelle Wolf.
Oh, lovely. Very nice.
Great pick.
The first time I remember seeing something that I thought was like, oh, I guess this is stand-up comedy. And you're doing it for like a specific... I remember watching her doing the White House Correspondents' Dinner in like Amazing. 2017 or 2018.
Must watch.
And it's so good. And like I'd like watched... It was... I don't know why it clicked as... Like, obviously I'd seen Felicity Ward do like a stand-up show before, but I remember thinking like that had always felt something separate. I don't know why it was Michelle Wolf for the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2018 that I was like, oh, this is something that she has written and performed for this event. Therefore, as a person, you can write and perform something yourself, and it doesn't have to be a one-person play. Even though I'd literally watched stand-up shows before, it was the first time that it clicked to me that like, it wasn't like I watched her and thought I could do that. It's like I watched that and I was like, oh, there's a way that you can write jokes about this. Because I think maybe if I'd been watching stand-up before, I was like, well, what would I write about? And then I watched that and I was like, well, you just write for the thing that's going to be happening, and then you do it.
Yeah.
That's a really terrible explanation, but yeah,
No, it's
I just
not.
think I'd also just like
No, you're absolutely spot on. So she's got that gig looming. She's done all the prep. She's written the gags for that thing, rather than, as you say, writing the. I'm just copying what you just said, but
same,
yeah,
but
I know exactly
same
what you
as like an awards show monologue. Like
Yeah.
Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, so good at the Golden Globes. Nikki Glaser also so good at the Golden Globes. Like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I really love that. I think Michelle Wolf is sort of like the platonic ideal of a stand-up comedian.
We had our first ever Always Be Comedy at the Bedford in Balham, and Michelle was the first. She will always be the first act that was on stage. You know, Tim. Lovely that you told her that. She. You know what I mean? Obviously she achieved a lot. She was. She was genuinely chuffed, wasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, hopefully history.
Tim's voice went very high there, which suggests that she wasn't.
Meant more to us than it to her. Maybe.
Meant more to us than it did to her. That's fair.
And that's fine.
But I mean, Tim, you said it on WhatsApp. What an unbelievable comedian she is.
Yeah,
I mean, she's just so
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So many different topics as well. You know, she can.
And
she's
just
got
like
gear and
a simple topic presented to its funniest degree.
Yeah.
Taken and run with to its funniest degree.
Has there been an incident that must not? Sorry, has there been an incident that you would love to replicate at this gig?
Oh, I think my answers to these two are going to be quite rubbish because I've listened to a few episodes as like when I knew I was coming on the pod, obviously, and like I've actually loved listening to other people's episodes of this podcast. It's so good the stories that you get out of people. I'm sorry, I've been rambling for such a long time. And so many answers that
the
people have
OnlyFans
had.
stories Hall of Fame. So don't you worry there.
And also that can be your.
Oh yeah,
Must not
I
replicate.
thought, oh god, nothing bad's ever happened to me. No, I didn't think that. No, the only thing that I think, oh, I'd love that to happen again. I was emceeing at this club called the Gaff in Bristol, which is great. I think they're doing great things in Bristol. And this woman, we were like 2/3 of the way through the show, and I heard like and this woman had pretended to be pregnant. She'd put her tiny dog in her handbag and smuggled it in under her clothes as if it was a pregnancy belly.
Oh,
and then
God.
when we were talking to her from the stage, she was trying to be like, it's an emotional support dog. And the staff of the venue were like, so why did you hide it in a pregnancy belly? And just the whole thing, I was like, yeah, it was so funny. Just stuff like that is like, I love that.
That's great.
It's the good thing about hosting because like, if you're doing like a 20, I'll often be doing like a 20 there, like you kind of can't derail your whole set to talk about that. But emceeing, I was like, well, we're going to be bringing the dog on stage.
Yeah.
Did the dog get on stage?
It was the fucking ugliest dog I've ever seen.
And you know what? I knew you were going to say that. I don't know why.
It was the fucking ugliest dog I've ever seen. Like, I've seen a lot of fucking ugly dogs. I've got a lot of queer friends, and people love buying a sort of an ugly dog or rescuing like an ugly dog from Romania. But this was like, I don't like a dog when I could conceivably boot it over the top of a building. It was like tiny and a rat and a pig at the same time. It was like all the animals of the Chinese zodiac rolled into one tiny little animal.
Well, Timo, is Dom's thing that must not happen at this gig? Would you say is that the OnlyFans story then?
It's got to be 100. It's got to be 100 people in their 70s. They age checked people on the door. They age checked people on the door. They said you cannot be younger than 68.
Yeah.
They were like turning, like if they were your group of friends, 167, 168, you'd get turned away from the gig so that they were old enough to fit in as old. It was bad.
By the way, one thing we didn't ask, and I imagine the listeners going, "Why didn't you?" Are we allowed to ask what the actual Edinburgh show's about? When you said there's a certain story.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it's kind of the way. Well, when I've not really found a way to do the sort of like elevator pitch yet, without making it sound like it's like really dark and boring and sad. Like, and I don't want to be contributing to the sort of like 45-minute sad mark of an Edinburgh show. But it's like if an Edinburgh debut show is about who you are and where you came from, like the two things that have sort of defined my adult life are both being like a gay Catholic and having an eating disorder. So it's kind of like to the story of those two things. And I had like an insane white South African eating disorder therapist called Wendy Christmas, and so there's the story of being in the group therapy with that. So it's not as serious as it makes it sound, but it is just sort of like it's kind of about eating disorders, and like being a man with an eating disorder, so like which doesn't really get spoken about. So it's a little bit about that, but it's not It's not so like this is my eating disorder show, you know.
Yeah, and also it's Don McGovern. So anyone's not yet got a ticket, it's going to be the funniest thing in the universe.
Cheers, lad.
Also, before the show, we're talking about people who have a skill of coming up with great names. Wendy Christmas is a beauty, isn't it?
It is amazing. It's like you couldn't write it.
No, you couldn't.
Wendy Christmas.
Well, final question.
You wouldn't trust that woman with your mental health, would you? You know,
Wendy Christmas.
I would.
No,
I wouldn't.
No, she'd bake you a lovely cake. But
how do you unwind after a gig?
oh, why, it's 4 to 7 hours of screen time, of course. I sit on my phone and I look at my phone and I think, let me get sucked into the vortex. Yeah, do you know what? I would love to learn about France's longest land border. Thank you so much. It's not where you think. It's Brazil. Just like stuff like that. I would love, if it's an ideal situation, it's maybe like a 20-minute journey home. I have half a pack of chicken gyoza in the fridge.
Yeah.
So I don't have to like go about like finding like either like a corner shop sandwich or something. I just have some gyoza ready to go. That takes me like 10 minutes. I eat them. I've only got 3% battery on my phone, so I can't get sucked into the thing.
Yeah.
So I put my phone on charge. I wash my face, do my little 5 minutes of like trying to get a jawline, and then and then I put on my Dipra base heavy aqueous cream and go to sleep. That's the platonic ideal, and that happens maybe once in every 80 gigs, and the rest of the time it's of course 4 hours of screen time.
Sure.
Yeah.
My wife said recently, you know what you should do? When you get into bed, you shouldn't do as much screen time. I was like, it's never going to happen.
Okay. What would you like me to do next? Stop breathing? Come on. Let's be realistic here, love. Thanks.
Yeah, I need to watch a 10-minute YouTube video about the rocky production of What About Bob. You know, that's my algorithm at the moment.
Sure. I'll watch the 5th part in a 6-part series. Haven't seen the previous 4. Of the rest is history. Listening to Dominic Sandbrook talking about like Mary Queen of Scots' husband who died in mysterious circumstances outside Holyrood Palace. Yeah, of course I'll watch that and I'll take that in.
Dom, we cannot thank you enough. Timo, that was a belter.
That was an absolute banger.
Really
Go see Dom in
it.
Edinburgh, for God's sake. We get emails from people who are always like, "There's a lovely gig." I don't think any act has been singled out more than you for like, we really particularly love Dom McGovern.
Yeah, well, also just to double down on that, and this was one of the things I was supposed to bring up in the actual chat. It's not just audience members, but also certain comedians are good at giving us feedback. Certain comedians who've done the night for many years will give us feedback, and your name comes up a lot.
That's really nice. That makes me feel very happy and very I just like for reasons that we've kind of gone into in this episode, the sort of like starting out by working front of house, I often feel like an interloper in the comedy industry. So to hear stuff like that and to be given a platform by people like you, people like Aisling, makes me really feel like people who've been so good and gone out of their way to be so kind to me, makes me feel incredibly special. And I'm very, very grateful for all the opportunities that you've given me and for being on the podcast.
Oh, there'll be many more.
Many more podcasts. Tim, you're out of a job.
There's a weekly podcast.
Many more.
I get the Slow Club Banquet Records poster. Thank you very much.
I'll present it to you on the final day of Edinburgh.
Thanks a lot, lads. That was fantastic. Huge and heartfelt thanks to the great Dom McGovern. Tim, I think we're spoilt for choice here. We are spoilt for choice.
We are.
Favourite? I think we're going to say the same thing.
No, I don't think we are, because mine's from a gig he was emceeing, so you wouldn't have been present at it. But what's yours?
Yeah, well, mine is as well. No. Well, mine is, I feel like I'm probably taking the safe option, but it is 100% true. So, it was suggested to us to take a look at this new act, and somebody wanted our opinion on this new act, and so we took a look at Don McGovern, and honest to Betsy, I just thought it's a wonderful moment. When I was a little boy, I saw the film The Great Escape, and I'd never seen Steve McQueen in anything before, and I'm not sure I've seen anyone before or since on the screen where you go, I don't know who this guy is, but whatever he's got, I'm interested in it, and I want lots more. And McGovern has got that. He's definitely got that. The first time I saw him always be comedy, as Tim says, around a year ago, I thought, God, this guy's hilarious, and everybody loves him. And he's, tell you what, Tim, he's got, this can't be said enough, he's got funny bones, hasn't he?
Oh my God. That's why he's such a brilliant MC. He doesn't have to do much material because just like his improv skills are unbelievable. Funny bones is absolutely it. Really brilliant.
The phrase Romesh once used to describe Henry Packer, funny falls off him.
That's nice.
It's lovely, that, isn't it? Dom's got that. Funny falls off Dom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be mine. Timo.
Mine has to be, I can't remember the full lineup, but I remember Ed Gamble and Joel Dommett were both on. And Dom was properly in the pocket. It might have been the best time I've ever seen him. And it was just watching Joel and Ed, who've seen so much comedy, but it was like they were watching, it was like a 6-year-old watching the Chuckle Brothers or something, like going absolutely crazy for it and just like blown away by like a new act, being like, good Lord, this is proper, this is real. So
I laughed when you said that because both lads WhatsApped me that night to say, Jesus Christ.
And they were absolutely right to. I remember Joel was closing, but he arrived before the second section. This is so specific and unnecessary. But yeah, so Ed was on in the middle. So Joel got to see all of Dom's second section MCing. And he said to him, you can do as long as you want before me because I'm just having so much fun watching it.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And I said, 2 minutes, please. we need to get on things.
You flashing your offices. Yeah. Dom takes the mic out the stand. Yeah, mate, it's getting late. Very good. Right, so as you can probably tell from today's episode, we really rate Dom McGovern.
We really.
If that. By the way, Tim, I think we need an update on the Shoot from the Hip YouTube numbers. Jesus Christ, we've got obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, we have.
They've sailed over 5,000, you know.
Those guys, those ruddy guys on YouTube.
Mate, 5,400, and that's on YouTube alone.
Guys, thank you to the guys, the Pigeon Army, I believe they're called. So I've done a lot of research this week.
They are called the Pigeon Army. Yeah. Tim, I'm not going to say who, but I won't say who, because there's a certain band that Tim, we've had more views than Eminem's new video. No, really? That can't be right.
That can't be right. Eminem's video must have come out, like, as you said, that sentence.
Oh, it might be an old video that he's re-put up, but Eminem, The Flag's Come Down, went up a day ago, and he's on 1.8 thousand views.
Really?
Maybe that's an old... He looks young in the video, so it must be an old song.
That's Eminem. It's still one of the biggest acts ever internationally. Okay,
young. Must be a old. Hang on, sorry. But anyway, I've clicked on it because I can't believe that.
Yeah. No,
1.8 thousand views.
God, Eminem, come on.
I can imagine people screaming. That song came out 20 years ago. He's just put the video up again.
Oh, I've just YouTube searched Eminem. Eminem Without Me official video, 2.4 billion views.
Do you know what? I'm glad you said that because I certainly didn't want to sound like we were throwing shade at Eminem.
At DMR,
I used to love Eminem when he first came out. I mean, this is how old I am. He came out when I was at. He wouldn't like that turn of phrase. He came out as a musician. He broke through actually because I'm sure he'd been around before in like Detroit or whatever. When I was at uni, so like those first 2 albums, oh man, all over them. Are you a fan?
Less so these days, but the Eminem show, I think when I was a teenager, I thought he was the coolest person who's ever lived.
Mate, D12, some of their stuff's great as well.
D12 were phenomenal. D12 were great.
That song, Fight Music, it is an absolute banger.
Yeah. Oh man. I think, look, there's a lot of Eminem which doesn't hold up for many a reason.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not sitting here going, and I stand by everything he's ever said.
But when it hits, oh my god, it's exceptional stuff.
Johnny Wilkinson would listen to I think he used to listen to Lose Yourself while practicing his kicking.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, Michelle de Swart, I think we've talked about this maybe on this pod. Michelle de Swart and I, we've known each other since, I've been going about 16 years. So around that, that's when we first started gigging together. And we would say that sometimes we'd like listen to, say, like an Eminem Lose Yourself on the way to a gig. This is when you're open mic. And so you walk in like all pumped up. Yeah, I'm going to change the game. And then as you walk in, the promoter comes up to you and goes, oh yeah, there's no sponsors, so the gig's not happening. All right, okay.
Oh, sorry. I'll go home. Absolutely fantastic.
Real back down to it. Heart's racing. Yeah, here we go. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I'll get back on the tube. Right, Timo, I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thanks very much, guys. Obviously, go watch Don McGovern. He is bloody great.
Cheers, guys. Lots of love. Bye, 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 bye.